You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, we are back. The Knicks and Raptors had the spotlight all to themselves on Monday night, the only scheduled game in the NBA. Two teams in action, Knicks and Raptors in Toronto. And the game certainly didn't disappoint. The Knicks get out of Toronto with a very hard-fought 113-108 victory. Several late key three-pointers certainly helped out. We'll get into it all. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Both teams tonight had big runs in both halves. Well, what does that say about the state of the Knicks defense? We'll break it down, especially considering Tibbs is a defensive coach. Again, we'll get into it tonight. All that coming up on the postcast. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Again, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing the Locked On Knicks daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. As we said, 113-108 and despite several runs by each team in each half, this really was close, especially late. Obviously, we have the 4-point play from Brunson with 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Now, originally, when it went down, I figured this might be the last time the Knicks give up the lead. They take the lead there. However, Toronto would regain that lead, but that's when Cat stepped up. Good to have Karl Anthony Towns back in the game tonight. Of course, missed his second game against Detroit, and the Knicks didn't win that game. And so it was good to have him back. Again, that huge three-pointer, the dagger, Kenny Albert called it. That came with 6.3 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. It turned a 2-point lead into a 5-point lead, and that proved to be the difference. Again, the Knicks win at 113-108. As for the scores, once again, for now the 15th time this season, all 5 Knicks scores scored in double figures, obviously getting contributions from everyone. Here we go. Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. We'll get to OG and RJ Barrett coming up. But both Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby played 41 minutes, by far the most. We also have to talk about minutes distribution. It's been a topic last couple of days. We'll get into it. Again, 41 minutes apiece for Bridges and Anunoby. 36 minutes played for Cat in his return. He pumped in 24, grabbed 15 rebounds. Now, as for Cat, that was his 20th double-double of the season, by far the most in the NBA. Folks, he's only played 22 games. 20 of them have featured double digits in both points and rebounds. In fact, I have to go back and look, but we did the legwork. Of the 2 games he did not register double-digit rebounds in, 9 and 7 respectively in those 2 games. So very easily could have 22 for 22. Nonetheless, 20 still pretty good. Again, leads the NBA in double-doubles with 20. Again, he had 24 tonight, grabbed 15 rebounds. Meanwhile, we talk about plus-minus every night. We got to get into it. And most of the damage the Knicks did was against the bench of Toronto. We'll get into that as well. Karl Anthony Towns was a plus 10. The only Knick in plus minus that was in double figures. He again was a plus 10. Most of the starters for Toronto, and this is interesting, in fact, all 5 starters for Toronto were a plus in the plus minus category. However, you got to see these numbers off the bench. They had 4 guys come off the bench tonight, a rotation of 9 guys. 4 guys came off the bench for Toronto. Here are their respective plus minus numbers: minus 15, minus 15, minus 17, and minus 10. So, point being, that's where the Knicks did their damage tonight, and rightfully so. That's where you want to exploit the lesser teams. They did so versus the bench. All right, RJ Barrett and OG Anunoby, we'll get to them. They both played well. OG had 14 in his return to Toronto. Obviously, he did not play the last time the Knicks were in Toronto. As for RJ Barrett, well, yes, he did play last season for the Raptors against the Knicks at MSG, pumped in 20 that night. Well, he was happy to see his old friends tonight. RJ, 30, a game high 30 on 13 of 24. So he was chucking tonight. 3 3-pointers, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. Once again, RJ Barrett. Good to see our old friend. But, of course, it's OG Anunoby's world now. And in respect to that matchup tonight, well, RJ certainly got the better of OG Anunoby, although the Knicks win. So who cares? Barrett, as we said, played 37 minutes, 13 of 24. Again, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, pumped in a game-high 30. But the Raptors come up short. What's interesting about the Raptors' record is they're 7-18. They're not any good. They're 6-7 at home. You want to know how things are not so good for Toronto? They have 1 win on the road. They're 1-11 away from Toronto. They're not even that bad a team at home. They were 500 coming into tonight. They're now 6-7. Speaking of 500, the Knicks were 6-6 away from Madison Square Garden. So they're 7-6 on the road. So interesting times for both the Raptors and Knicks. Knicks, by the way, 15-9 now. And again, 7-6 away, 8-3 at home. Some interesting numbers that we've got to get to. We'll start with the Knicks offense. They're 12-0 now when leading after the first quarter. When they're not, they're 3-8. And we've discussed the starts, especially lately, against Charlotte and Detroit, respectively. Slow starts for the Knicks. Well, not tonight. They started off real slow, real quick, but got back into the game. They ended the first quarter on a 15-4 run. So again, the Knicks now 12-0 when they lead after the first quarter. Meanwhile, they had, as we said, 9 losses coming into tonight. Now that we've played tonight, the Knicks are 8-1 after losses. So again, that's just 1 multiple game losing skid, and that's where they lost 2 in a row. Meanwhile, another impressive stat tonight. Didn't expect it to happen, but it did. The Knicks, when they were out-rebounded this season, were 0-6. They were out-rebounded tonight pretty handily by Toronto, 51-40. Double-digit difference in rebounding, and the Knicks still won. So now they are 1-6 when they get out-rebounded. This was the first time this season that they won a game they were out-rebounded in. Again, 51-40 was the number. More important stats. The Knicks are 3rd in the league in assist-to-turnover ratio. Here are the numbers tonight. For the Knicks, 32 assists, 10 turnovers. That's pretty good. For a team that's averaging about 11 turnovers, they were below their average. Again, just 10 turnovers, 3 each for Cat and Jalen Brunson. We'll get to Brunson in a minute. Also from 3, the Knicks are 39% on the season from beyond the arc, the second best percentage in the NBA. So let's check it tonight. Right there, 17 of 40 for 43%. So That number will go up a little bit. Again, 17 of 40. Knicks shot 51% from the floor tonight, 42 of 82. However, a very important problem has reared its ugly head, and we must discuss. We'll take a break on the Locked On Knicks postcast. And again, we'll tell you exactly what we need to be worried about with the Knicks. All right, with big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. We've been there before. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. Guess what? They really mean it. We've all had bad experiences with our mobile providers. So when Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, you know it's real. How about complicated bills, fees, upcharges, etc.? How great is it that Mint Mobile is straight up saying bye-bye to that stuff? Really amazing stuff. Mint Mobile now is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. Can't beat that. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment required, which is the equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, we are halfway home. Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks visited the Toronto Raptors for the first time this season. Again, it was the return of OG Anunoby. Did not play in the last Knicks game in Toronto. It was late last season in the regular season. He did not play in that game. RJ Barrett did play for the Raptors at Madison Square Garden last season. So this is not the first time he's played in a game against his former mates. By the way, he scored 20 in that game at MSG and certainly impressed again tonight, pumping in a game-high 30. As for OG, not as effective, despite the fact that he played 41 minutes. You're always going to get defensive stats from OG. 4 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and only 2 turnovers. However, he was a -7, and of all the Knicks starters, he was the lowest there, -7. He did have 14 points, and again, 4, 3, 2, and 3. 3 more blocks for OG Anunoby, who was as athletic as it gets. Again, multiple steals, multiple blocks every single night. All right, the Knicks are now 48-26 in the regular season since the trade last December. It's been about a year. Of course, OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa, can't forget about him, coming over in the RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley deal. Again, they have played 73 games, 73 regular season games. The Knicks are 47-26 since that trade. Really tells you all you need to know. Not only that, we're leaving out the postseason last year, which of course was a terrific run. So again, 47-26 since the trade. Seems like the Knicks knew what they were doing at that point in time. All right, we told you about Cat and Cam Payne also returned tonight. He played 13 minutes. He has become a streaky 3-point shooter. Took 6 shots tonight, 4 of them from 3, made just 1, and he loves to take that deep 3 too, sort of that side-winding action, or I guess it would be this way since he's a lefty. But we need to talk about, you guessed it, the free throw shooting. What has gone wrong with the free throw shooting? More struggles tonight. They missed double digits free throws against the Pistons. It was ugly. Turned out to be one of the reasons they lost the game. However, tonight, more struggles, even with the win. They were 12 of 19. Remember, folks, this is the best free throw shooting team in the league percentage-wise, nearly 84%. That's 2 straight games they've struggled. They missed 7 tonight. That's a 63% clip. The culprits, Jalen Brunson missed 3 free throws for a guy who shoots roughly 85% from the line. And yeah, it's free throws. Perhaps we're paying too much attention to it. But it's reared its ugly head these last 2 games. One was a loss. Tonight very well could have been a loss, and that didn't help. Karl Anthony Towns missed 2, and Jalen Brunson missed 3. So 5 missed free throws between those 2 guys. That obviously needs to get better. As for Brunson, if you recall, left with 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. This was interesting. It looked like he twisted his ankle. He actually tripped over the feet of a fan sitting courtside, which is amazing. He actually returned in the fourth quarter, roughly halfway through with about 6 and change to play in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, nailed the 4-point play, which we thought would keep the Knicks in front for good. That didn't prove to be the case. However, they would get the lead back. And then the dagger, as we said, Karl Anthony Towns lighting up. Really awesome stuff. Again, 113-108. Towns hit the big 3. He has not been a problem. His shooting has been excellent. 7 of 13 from the floor, 8 of 10 from the line. So again, shooting woes not with Karl Anthony Towns. Same with Jalen Brunson. He was 7 of 13, despite the fact he missed 4 3-pointers. Knicks hit 5 of their first 6 3-pointers on the night. However, they would only go 17 of 40. So they came crashing down to earth. All right, the OG RJ Barrett story is an interesting one. We've given you the numbers. They faced up against each other. You knew they wanted a piece of each other. Doesn't mean they don't respect each other. Just means they know exactly what they want. They want to beat the guy they were traded for. And RJ Barrett certainly wanted to do that in front of the home folks. And he did do that. Again, he scored 20 at the Garden as a Raptor. He scored 30 in Toronto as a Raptor against the Knicks. By the way, best of luck, and our hearts and minds are with Scotty Barnes, who had just come back from an orbital fracture. You notice he was wearing the goggles tonight. Well, he twisted it or came down, turned his ankle, and it looked bad. You could see him saying, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I can't move my foot," which is scary times. And he couldn't walk off the court. He had to be carried off and then limped off, basically hopped on one leg. So really was difficult times. And you hate to see it, especially for a guy, 1, that is a good pro, and 2, returning from another injury. Josh Hart hit his 600th career 3-pointer tonight. That came in the fourth quarter for Hart, his only 3-pointer of the night. He scored 10 points, had 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Not the best of nights for Josh Hart. Missed some easy layups. He played just 32 minutes. We told you about Mikal Bridges and the minutes run he's been on. Of course, still leading the NBA in minutes per game at over 38 per. In a 40-point blowout, he played over 40 minutes. We wondered what Tibbs was doing at that point in time. Yes, this was a close game. But anytime you're pushing over 40 minutes, things are going to have to change at some point. At some point, you cannot have Mikal Bridges playing 40 to 45 minutes 82 times this regular season and then expect him to have anything for the postseason. Not to mention, he hasn't been great to begin with. He had 23 tonight on 9 of 14 shooting, which is pretty good for him considering the way he's been shooting. He just tends to take a lot of bad shots. He tends to take a lot of difficult shots. It seems like he dribbles into bad shots. And it's It's frustrating. Again, 23 on 9 of 14 shooting, including 5 3-pointers. So he played well tonight. 5 of 8 from 3. All right, you're watching the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks beat the Raptors tonight. My name is Jay Berman. Follow me on X at Jay Berman, JayBerman. We have not one, but 2 schedules to look at. Can't wait to do it. We've got regular season hoops. We've also got the NBA Cup to discuss. We'll break it all down coming up next. All right, hey, NBA fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. As for the numbers tonight, the Knicks were indeed favored, but they didn't cover. They win, but they don't cover. Toronto got 7.5 points, so they covered. They lost by 5. The total was 232.5. It actually went up a point. It was 231.5, closed at 232.5. So the under hits there. Remember, folks, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com. You're watching the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks beat the Raptors tonight. My name is Jay Berman. Follow me on X at Jay Berman, JayBerman. We are with you here on the Locked On Knicks postcast after every Knick game. Tonight was a pretty good win for the Knicks. Hard fought, didn't play their best. However, they got the job done, 113-108. Knicks are now 15-9. And before we get to the schedule, since there was only one game in the NBA tonight, might as well get a quick look at the standings. Everything is obviously complete. The Knicks are now 15-9. They're one full game behind the Orlando Magic. The Magic are 17-9. The Knicks are 15-9. So they're one game back, even in the loss column, with 2 games in hand on Orlando. Of course, the Cavaliers are way ahead of everyone in the East. They're 21-4. That's 84. They're playing 84% winning clip, which is just amazing. Again, 21-4. Celtics right there. They've caught up. They're 19-5, just a game and a half behind Cleveland. And then the Magic, Knicks, Heat, and Bucks wind out and wrap up those top 6 spots in the Eastern Conference. All right, as for the schedule, let's do it. We have to get into the NBA Emirates Cup, which, of course, starts on, or at least the quarterfinals begin on Tuesday. So that's tomorrow night, the first 2 games. In the East, Orlando and Milwaukee. They're in Milwaukee. And we also have the late game, Dallas and Oklahoma City from OKC. The Wednesday games, the Knicks and Hawks from the Garden are up first at 7 Eastern. Again, that's Wednesday at an early start time, 7 Eastern. Also, the nightcap, Golden State and Houston. Now, obviously, it's one and done. If you lose, you are out. If the Knicks beat the Hawks on Wednesday, they would advance to the semifinals in Las Vegas. Those semifinals games are on Saturday. They're scheduled for 4:30 and 8:30. Again, both those games in Vegas. Not sure which slot the Knicks would play in if they happen to beat Atlanta. But again, it would be the winner of Orlando, Milwaukee, and it would be either 4:30 or 8:30 on Saturday. If they win the semifinal round, well, then we're off to the finals, which would be Tuesday, December 17th, a week from tomorrow at 8:30. Again, that is also from Vegas. As for the regular season schedule, now I guess officially takes a break, if you will. The Knicks have the Wednesday game against Atlanta. The next regularly scheduled regular season game, not counting the NBA Cup, will be December 19th in Minnesota for a 2-game swing in Minnesota, then in New Orleans 2 days later. Again, that's not until the 19th, so we have a couple of days to go. Again, Knicks will head out on a 2-game trip. December 19th in Minnesota, that's a late start, 9:30. And then December 21st, as we get into Christmas week, at New Orleans at 8 Eastern. So not an easy schedule after the NBA Cup that the Knicks will come back from. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. And, of course, it's that time of the show again where we give our shout-outs to our friends over at the Locked On Knicks. The All-Stars, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf, they handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, of course, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. Knicks beat the Raptors tonight 113-108. In his return to Toronto, OG, not one of his best games. 6 of 14 from the floor, pumped in 14, was just 2 of 9 from 3. However, his team gets the win, and that's all that matters. As for his counterpart, that, of course, is RJ Barrett. They faced each other. They guarded each other. They were traded for each other. Well, RJ certainly showed us his splendors across the board, really filling up the stat sheet. He had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, and committed just 3 turnovers. Again, the Knicks win it 113-108. They're now 15-9, 7-6 away, and they got the Hawks in the NBA Cup coming up on Wednesday. You've been watching the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks beat Toronto. We will see you Wednesday night for the Hawks.